For the next 6 days, Katarzyna trains. He names the sword style that he developed Drunkard's Ballet. He trains in that sword style again and again, refining it to the fullest. Of course, he uses his mana, that external mana, wrapping it around his sword. And of course, Katarzyna notices about the sword that the sword has its own internal energy. He can circulate that internal energy along with his breath. Like, of course, the swordsman style is making every move in sync with your breath and with your internal mana. But because he cannot control his internal mana, he can just control the sword's internal mana. And he trains in that. Also, there's the fact that because he does not need to control his internal mana, he can use his unique abilities at the same time. Because, well, he is enhancing the sword with his mana, wrapping mana around it. Maybe because of chantless magic and the experience that he had with the fire element, he can, without creating a spell, keep the mana that is wrapped around the sword in a specific state to match a specific element, which is fire. He figures out that fire is the best affinity for him. Also, when he's exhausted, he does this on the very last day before the fight between Ernesty and Frank. He is like, bro, these guys are both above my level. Ernesty can copy anything and I need to keep up with his pace. Even if I might be a bit stronger or just a bit behind him right now, his rate of growth far surpasses mine, so I need to keep up. And for Frank, he thinks that, well, I still do not understand his ability. So he trains the whole day in his sword style and eliminates any unnecessary movements. But he just can't get satisfied because he thinks that no matter how much he tries, he's still lacking behind. So eventually he just runs out of energy. He lays on the ground, all defeated. As he's laying down, he thinks of something. He has run out of mana. Well, he has not run out of mana per se, but he has run out of stamina to control the mana. Because he was never using his own internal mana, so he can't run out of mana, but he has run out of the stamina to control it. So as he's lying, he thinks, what can he do? Still he is thinking, even after running out of stamina, he still thinks, what can I do in this defeated state? And it pops into his head that now that his mana sensitivity is so great, he can look into himself with that mana sensitivity. And even though he can't control his internal energy or much mana right now because of his lack of stamina, he can still sense it. So he starts sensing his internal mana, and he notices that the mana inside him is almost not flowing at all. He has seen Ernesty, he has seen other people, and they have this very fast-flowing mana. Not very fast-flowing, but decently it flows in their body. But his is almost stagnant, and what's causing it to be stagnant, what he notices is that it's blocked in so many places. It's blocked by these shards of something. He cannot tell what this something is, but it feels like an orb that exploded inside his body from where his mana core should be. His mana core is there, but still it feels like something exploded and its shards are throughout his body, and those shards are blocking his mana circulation. Of course, he can't do anything about that. Even if he notices, he can't even move a single shard from its place. Also, he thinks that that would be very dangerous to be doing alone and not have some supervision, or be doing that, not some expert. But he also notices something, that even though the whole torso is having these shards, he notices that because the head has its own circulatory path than the rest of the body, so does the mana circuitry inside one's body, and he notices that actually nothing is stopping that circuit. The chunks are not in that circuit and are not actually preventing its flow. So he has an idea. He thinks that what will happen if I do not try the typical way of using internal energy? That is focus on the core and let energy flow in and out. What if I just focus on this part which connects my heart to my brain and just flow mana there? And so what he does on the external mana thing when he's controlling it, he tries to do only on this brain circuit. I will call it the whole. It's not just in the brain. It's also in the whole of the face and the heart. And so he tries to activate that and move mana and makes mana flow in that area. And he experiences something. he experiences kind of the same feeling that he did when fighting Frank. Just devoid of the anger, devoid of the emotion that triggered it, he is feeling the same thing. And as his memory goes to that moment, his brain starts thinking about Frank and the ability he showed, how he was dodging everything by Ernesty and by Katrazin. And then it hit him, as he had previously thought Chantless magic is not a unique ability. So what if Frank does not have Chantless because Frank cannot have Chantless magic as his unique ability? What if he actually has a unique ability which has something to do with predicting future moves of the opponent? And if that is the case, then what about how is he marking people? Because also one thing that Katrazin has theorized about unique ability is that you have to mark someone. Just like Katrazin cannot have more than 3 things marked at once to swap places. Swap places with his body and swap between those. When he came to Quillsburg, he could mark 3 things. Now he can mark 4 things as his unique ability has grown. Arnesty has to mark an ability. He does not have to mark a physical thing or a physical being, but he can mark an ability and copy that. And that is only limited to 1 at a time. And to mark something, you need to do a process. Arnesty's process is of course longer. Katrazin's process is just that he has to personally touch that item to mark it. He cannot be like something he has not touched. He cannot mark that. Katrazin thinks, how is Frank marking us? Because he never hit me. And I could never hit him. So there is no physical thing. Can he just mark us with some mana thing, or does he have something else? Some other way of marking us? Does he have that, or can he just mark us by seeing us? Katrazin realizes that doing this circulation through his brain is making it run so much faster. And he figures out another thing, something that his brain was very slow and unintelligent to figure out before. The second chapter of Christine Myers' notes, which was about breaking down unique abilities literally. In which Christine Myers explains that a unique ability is just you can think of a unique ability as a multidimensional knot that exists in a lot of dimensions. Visualizing all these dimensions is mind-boggling and is actually not possible for anybody in humanity. No one is actually that smart that they can visualize spaces beyond 3D. Even the 4th dimension people struggle with, and we are talking about hundreds of dimensions here. So it's very difficult to analyze this space analytically. But Christine Myers tells that it's not impossible. And what her insight is that unique abilities, the growth of unique abilities, comes from untying these knots. That the whole entirety of unique ability is one giant knot, but there are smaller ones that are sometimes trivial to open. And one by one, when someone expands their unique ability and are able to do something they were not able to do previously, that is what Myers calls unknotting the smaller knots. Myers says that this can be done without visualizing the entire space. This can be done even without visualizing the smaller knots at all, because we are transferring the problem of the real world into this world of knots. Myers says that once someone can actually transform, he detailed his way of actually transforming thing, breaking a unique ability down. Not just the unique ability, breaking a small part of your unique ability. Something you can do, a unique ability might have many things that can be done, like just from Katrazin's ability. Katrazin's ability is positional swapping, and he can use it for teleportation. He can use it for swapping to different things. So even in these 2 things that he could do with his unique ability, you can think of those as 2 different knots in a bigger knot. And you can just focus on a sub-knot, a smaller knot, and just visualize it and break it down. Break it down further and further, as much breakdown you can do. And if you find that any breakdown to be independent of the bigger whole, the bigger knot, then you have found something that can be unknotted easier. Unknotting this smaller knot can help you unknot the bigger sub-knot, and unlocking the bigger sub-knot can help you unlock the whole of the big knot. All of this is confusing, but Katrazin understands the theory. He understands what are the principles required to break down and then transfer to the from reality breaking down in reality, converting each breakdown into the knot theory and then recombining the whole knot theory to get a picture of the bigger knots. Maybe not the whole, but some of the sub-knots. And then having this visualization, breaking after recombining, breaking it down again in terms of things that they can understand. Things like elements that already exist. Katrazin figures out that instead of actually thinking about his own unique ability, he thinks about something else. Something he finds easier to break down, which is Carlsen's ability. Carlsen's ability he can easily break down in terms of mana. So he breaks down Carlsen's ability into smaller mana dimensions, something that he can control. He breaks down Carlsen's ability into elements. Yes, but you see, by following this very theory and combining it with elements being able to be controlled using chance of course getting you into the right headspace, meaning that elements are just manifestations of emotions. Basically meaning that all elements, all 5 elements, can be broken down into emotions. And thus breaking aura down into emotions and then going reverse and using elements can actually in theory help Katrazin to use aura, which he actually tries then and there. And he feels this energy. Before Carlsen had shown him aura, his master had taught him that there's something called sword aura. You know this breathing technique I've been telling, that your moves and your breath should be in sync. That is to direct your aura, because you don't have aura control as an ability, as a unique ability. So you need to control your aura without that ability, and thus by breathing. So aura can also be broken down into breathing. Combining all of this, Katrazin actually finds it pretty easy to manipulate aura to circulate throughout his body while also compressing aura, a lot of aura throughout his body, sending it all to one place like his feet, his leg for body enhancement purpose, for movement, sending it to his muscles, sending it to his outer skin and forming an exoskeleton of sorts. He has pretty much he's very joyful, and of course, he is out of stamina already, and by doing this for a while he does not feel the exhaustion, but the exhaustion catches on, and he just drifts off to sleep. And as he drifts off to sleep, he wakes up and finds that it's time and he's almost late for the fight. As he arrives, those 2 guys are waiting for him. They are like, "Bro, you need to be here. This fight is for you. You need to be here." And this is actually shared by the whole stadium. It's happening in the practice hall, but even in the practice hall there are a lot of people that have come to see. The senior years have come to see. Even the 7th years, the last year's A1 have come to see the match. The only person who might actually not have come is the principal. Even the teachers are there. Of course, one teacher needs to be there because it's a fight, but more than one is actually quite unexpected. Ernesty and Frank start their match.